Season 12 begins with a win. Big win considering it was a top 15 matchup, but in the end we got some question marks, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I think we're going to be fine defensively, but right now we got a lot of question marks on offense. Specifically wide receiver, man. We got some issues there we got to address. So you see Justin Frankie Beverly Mays is featured on the front cover of the Sports Illustrated magazine for this week, and they're saying that our win streak might be in jeopardy as we get ready to take on the Wolfpack of North Carolina State. So you see Tony Reed wins SWAC Offensive Player of the Week. Ashton Fuller wins SWAC Defensive Player of the Week. Look at Reed's numbers though. 22 of 27, 352, 4 total tutties, and they beat UCLA. Meanwhile, Pine Bluff lost to UConn 32-21. But old buddy from Pine Bluff balled out. Ryan Fulton of South Carolina State with a big game. Marvin Buckles of Morgan State with a huge game. My goodness, look at these numbers. Video game X numbers. 10 tackles, 4 for loss, 2 sacks, INT, and a forced fumble for Buckles. So you saw us. We beat Kansas State. Jackson State hosted South Florida, and they got beat down by 22 points. You see Mayhew, 9 tackles, 4 for loss, 2 sacks, and it looks like Jackson State just struggled to get into the end zone on offense. But there's always next week. Pine Bluff losing to UConn. They scored 21 points in the second quarter, and you saw Fuller's numbers, and they did nothing else the rest of the way. And it looks like UConn didn't get into the end zone in the second half. Florida State hosted their school down the street, Florida A&M, and Lorenzo Harris, the former Alabama State Hornet, 21 carries, 154 yards, and 4 touchdowns on the game. Washington balled out too. He had 8 receptions, 113 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But it looks like Florida A&M just could not keep the same energy they had in the first half. Florida State pretty much did most of their damage, I guess, in the third quarter, but mainly the second half, and they got out victorious. Down at Daytona Beach, you got Bethune-Cookman losing by 7 points to Central Florida. Central Florida did more in the first half. Bethune-Cookman tried to rally back second half. They probably did top the game, but it looks like Central Florida came out on top. Prairie View A&M with a big shocker. They beat UCLA, and look at Reed's numbers once again. And it looks like Prairie View A&M had a pretty balanced game on offense, scoring in every quarter. UCLA struggled on offense the second quarter. Prairie View A&M prevails. Grambling State goes out to Hawaii, and they take an L, losing 46-36. Calhoun had a pretty good game, 24-32, 369 and 5 tutties. And it looks like Hawaii did all their damage, well, most of their damage in the first quarter and the fourth quarter. Meanwhile, Grambling State, they looked to rally back, but it was a little too late. Alcorn State goes to Tucson, Arizona, and defeat the Wildcats. And again, another balanced game by another HBCU. Looks like they did a lot in the air. Burnett had a hell of a game. Goodness. Southern falls short to Louisiana Tech. Byram had 12 of 18, 198, 3 touchdowns. This looked like it was a close game too. It looks like Southern even went for 2 after scoring a touchdown to try to get back into the hunt. I guess they couldn't recover an offside kick, and that pretty much concluded the game. Let's go over to the MEAC. As you see, Howard shut out Houston 24-0. Howard did all their damage in the first 3 quarters. Pretty much chilled out for the fourth quarter. Look at Davis, 16 of 22, 25, 10 carries, 2 total tutties, and a shutout win over the Houston Cougars in D.C. Let's go out to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where North Carolina A&T defeated the New Mexico Lobos. And the Aggies scored 20 of their 27 points in the first quarter. Got shut out second and third quarter, turned it back up fourth quarter, and got the victory. Matthews had a pretty balanced game, had over 100 total yards. Meanwhile, out there in Reno, Nevada, Morgan State goes out west comes back east with a W, scoring a touchdown and an extra point in each quarter and beating the Nevada Wolfpack 28-7. That's a big win. Going up there, the Dover, Delaware. San Jose State comes to town, and they beat the Delaware State Hornets 20-13. And it looks like Delaware State just struggled to get things going on defense. But somebody for them had 2 INTs. And the big shocker right here, the Tennessee State Tigers hosting the Texas Longhorns in Nashville and defeating them 21-17, 11 tackles, 8 for loss, and 4 sacks for Young. Good God, that man went off on that Texas team. Texas is really falling off in this game, man. NCAA 06, I'm not talking about in real life. And then we go out to Fort Collins, Colorado, where we have South Carolina State blowing out the Colorado State Rams. I don't know if y'all heard that, but my puppy's whimpering in the background. She a goofy too. Anyway, so you saw South Carolina State beat Colorado State. And in Norfolk, Virginia, we got the Norfolk State Spartans beating the North Carolina Tar Heels. So some HBCU schools are getting some big wins over some PWIs. And it looks like North Carolina didn't do much after the first half. Well, neither team did. It's just that Norfolk State just did a little bit more first half. So that concludes this edition of The Steam. Join us next time. We got North Carolina State coming to town in a critical top 10 matchup that could determine some national championship implications, man. I can't wait till them boys from Raleigh, North Carolina come to town, because they are very hot and have high anticipations of winning a national title. Thank you for watching. Peace.